Hey everyone, I'm Brad Way.
I'm Shannon McCaffrey.
And to make a short story shorter, we started Level Up Talks to bring you meaningful conversations.
And to help you level up in your life.
So let's get started.
If you're not progressing, you're dying.
You should teach your kids not to want more money, but to want more happiness.
But the experiences I've had, they've definitely shaped and shifted me.
Hey everyone, how are you doing?
Hi, welcome to Level Up Talks.
Let's get started. So when I came in here today, the topic that kind of came up pretty quick was this past week. So one of the things I've been thinking about this week is some of the messes or some of the messaging that's come out to me this week. And I know there's probably some stuff that can come out of your experience this week. So why don't you tell us what's happened with your phone and the mess that's created?
The phone debacle.
The phone debacle.
So it was really bizarre, but somebody had actually gone into my Rogers account, because I'm Rogers with my cell phone. They had gone into Rogers, canceled my account, and ported my phone number over to another carrier.
What do you mean they went into your Rogers account? Like, how does that happen?
They're hackers. So they hacked into my account.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly how they got into the account, although what I heard was they only really need to have 3 pieces of information to get into your Rogers account, which is your name, your address, and your, actually, I don't even think it's your address. I think it's your name, your postal code, and your birthday. So fairly easy to figure out those 3 if you have Facebook and people know potentially where you live or a rough idea of where you live.
They must have to have some kind of email and your something?
Yeah, your email.
Okay.
Your email, your postal code, and your birth date. So they got into my Rogers account however they did it. I actually think now, looking back, it was an inside job, and I'll tell you why in a second. So they get into my account, they port the number over, which means my 4538022 number was still active, but it wasn't in my possession.
Right.
So what that means is they could go into Amazon, PayPal, all sorts of things. They could say forget password. They would get sent a 4-digit code through the 2-step authentication process, and they got that code and reset my password so that they could get into those accounts and make orders. So they ordered a PlayStation, which they had shipped somewhere in Montreal, and they ordered some weird coin machine thing, I don't even know, which they accidentally had sent to my house. So I had to go through the fraud department to get those orders canceled, and they also got into my PayPal. Now, because on my phone I have Wi-Fi, I could still get my emails and my messages. So I was on Wi-Fi. I could see an email come in from Best Buy that I'd ordered some sort of iPad for $1,000. I went in immediately, canceled the order, closed my PayPal account. But they still got a couple transactions through that I'm still dealing with at the fraud department. So not only was it bad that it happened once, so the solution to it was I had said to them, when I was talking to them, Rogers, on the phone, like, how long till I can retrieve my phone number? My business is real estate.
Sure.
I need my phone number.
Right, because that's the other side here, right?
Catastrophic to not have my phone number. Yeah. And not only to not have it, but people were calling. It was getting a voicemail that was blank.
Well, lost business opportunities, like huge.
So I don't know who was trying to text me. If you were iMessaging me, Facebook messaging me, or emailing me, I could get it through my Wi-Fi. Yeah. But when I wasn't in Wi-Fi zone, I was getting nothing. And if you were texting me or phoning me, I wasn't getting the messages. So catastrophic. So when I originally called Rogers, they said it'd be 7 days to resolve.
That's
and I said,
even more catastrophic.
I'm like, not acceptable. Who do I need to talk to? What do I need to pay? What do I need to do to get it hooked back up? So it's just becoming sort of more common now that this is happening. So the first couple of people I talked to...
It seems too easy. Like, I don't understand based on your explanation at this point. Like, I mean...
It's scary. It's scary. So anyhow, so they said, actually, they flipped me through to a couple of people. I finally made my way through, and they said, okay, this is how you can get it back quicker. You need to go to the store, any store, wireless store, get a SIM card, switch out your SIM cards, and they'll set you up a new basic account with a new temporary password or a new temporary phone number. When they get that phone number set up, they can port your number back over. And so that's what they did. Yeah. So once I got the SIM card in, it was 45 minutes to an hour before I had my number ported back over to me. Anybody who had called or texted, that was deleted. So I still don't know who was trying to contact me or not trying to contact me. If you didn't reach me, you can call me now.
So as a business person, like, how do you start taking care of that? Did you send out like an APB or whatever the acronym is there? Like, hey, sorry, but I saw it on
well,
Facebook.
I put it on Facebook so that if somebody couldn't reach me for some reason, they could get on there. I was probably only down and out, like realistically, like in the middle of the night till probably 2:00 the first time.
Not a lot of activity typically.
Yeah, well, there is quite a bit between 9 and 2, but 5 hours in the grand scheme of things isn't the end of the world.
Sure.
Days would have been.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that happened. I get myself all back up and running. I change all my passwords everywhere, as you would anticipate. And then the following evening, I wake up in the middle of the night. I happen to glance over at my phone,
again,
and it's happened again. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So 3:00 in the morning, I call the fraud department. I say, listen, I have an extra SIM card. It came with my phone. It was in the box, my phone box. And they said, well, we can't use that because it's already associated with your phone. You need a new one hooked up to a new phone number to a new account. So you're going to have to go in the morning. So
Rogers is helping you out as well on top of this,
they're
right?
doing what they can,
And maybe reimbursing you or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't pay any extra additional. It was just a lot of headaches and a lot of running around and numerous phone calls.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, pain in the ass.
So second time around, I go to Walmart at 8 a.m. Walmart in Napanese Wireless Center doesn't open until 10. So I leave Walmart and go to Kingston and go to the Rogers store, get myself a new SIM by 9:30. I had the SIM card in, and probably by about 10:45, I was back up and running again. Mm-hmm. And then what they did is fraud department called me and said there's an extra level of security that they're going to put on my account, which they did. I authorized.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah. And what that does now is I can't port my phone number at any point in time without calling the fraud department.
Sure.
Clearly, they're not going to do that for anybody and everybody because there's so many people porting numbers that it would be a disaster for them.
But there needs to be something. I mean, they've got to obviously work on it.
Yeah, they're working on it now. So, it's like anything. They find a fix for one thing and then hackers figure out something else.
That's right.
But very scary. These are the things that I did learn. What I did learn is anytime you can set up authentication through an authenticator app that you can get on your phone, which changes the digits every 30 seconds. I have that. If any of the companies give you an option to do that as opposed to texting the 4-digit code,
that's a great suggestion.
Yeah, do that. Because actually what was happening the second time around, because I had done that and had found out about it, I could see them trying to authenticate. Right, they were trying to hack into my Microsoft account and was saying, send me the 4-digit code from the authenticator app. And I was like, haha, suckers, you can't get in. But still, they did the damage on the first round, and now I'm smarter. So,
well, the damage is just the pain in the ass, right?
It's a pain in the butt.
It's a lot of headache.
It's a lot of
headache.
On
top of every other headache that you might have going on in your life.
But, okay, so let's keep it in perspective. They didn't embezzle tens of thousands of dollars off of me. It could have been way worse. The companies are really good at crediting you back. It was a headache, but aside from that, I haven't, for this part anyways, found that I've lost any business from it. Right. And everybody's healthy and we're all good. So it's, in the grand scheme of things, it's minor.
Refocus on what's really important.
Minor blip in the radar. Sure. Just annoying.
Yeah, no, and I was explaining to you, that's why I said before we started here today is do you want me to leave? Because, this is important, right?
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person that wants to deal with something like that.
Yeah. Right away.
Yeah. Because that looming over my head, that's a pro and a con. Because sometimes, I can't not focus on that because I put that much importance on it. Did that happen to you, or do you kind of shift away from that? Can you kind of decompartmentalize that aspect?
No, I had to get it all taken care of right away. Yeah. The PayPal actually had sent me an email saying that the charges would not be sent through, that they saw that it was fraudulent and they weren't pushing it through, but one of them did push through. So then I had to call PayPal today because I saw it sitting in my credit card under pending, and then I saw it get posted, so then I decided I had to call PayPal.
Security is going to be such a big business.
Huge.
And a big pain in our butt over the next little while, right?
For sure. Knock on wood, though, what was really scary is when I had Googled it, there's a lot of bad things they could have done.
Sure.
They can hack right into your phone and take control of everything and wipe you right out, right? Yeah. I could have lost photos. And that's a good thing about having things if you're Apple, if you've got things loaded in the cloud. You had your computer crash and you lost a bunch of stuff the other day. Yeah. So, it's just really important to stay on top of that and have everything backed up. Yeah. If something happened to my phone, I just plug it back into a new phone and everything would download from the cloud. So that's really super awesome.
I think what you shared though, I find it obviously fascinating to hear your story, and obviously we can learn from our challenges and the messes that sometimes we put ourselves in or other people put us in. That's why I wanted you to share it. But the really important thing is, you just brought up my computer crash, is I do try to reframe it.
Yeah.
And then put it in perspective of how much shittier it could have been.
Yeah.
It's sometimes the only way that I can feel better about the situation, because it's like, this sucks.
Yeah. Could have been
but
so much
it could have been worse,
yeah.
right? It's not to take away that it doesn't suck, but it just makes me feel that much better. There's
so many people out there who have health issues, their kids are sick, with serious problems, and they
but
just
even
look at
there,
my
though,
problem
Shannon,
and go,
it's
whatever.
like, that's exactly my point, though, because it doesn't matter that it was just a semi-minor issue, but even healthcare, or health. Right? You can always reframe it and say it could be worse.
Yeah, it could be worse.
And there's
some health issues that can't be worse. You got a sick or dying family member. You're
100%.
sick and dying, or your child is sick and dying. Like, nothing gets worse than that.
Here's my point to that. And that's a good, is we recently just had a friend lose their mom to cancer. And Michelle, 2 years ago, lost her stepfather. And she couldn't figure out the blessing in that, which, of course, is pretty tough to do.
Absolutely.
But Michelle's been a better friend to her friend Tracy this week as a result of having gone through that. I get emotional about it because it's not like it doesn't impact us.
Yeah.
But I think in order to kind of be your best version of yourself, sometimes you need to take, and of the perspective of sometimes it's the mess that is sometimes the gold.
Yeah.
But Michelle couldn't be that empathetic friend the same way she is now if she hadn't lost her father, her stepfather.
Yep, definitely. I think I try and look at it like, it's sad for us because they've left us here on Earth, for people who've passed away, but we don't know where they've gone. Maybe truly they have gone to the most blissful, amazing place in the whole planet.
Sure. That
if we had awareness of it, we would be celebrating because they've left us and gone somewhere better. And I would truly like to believe that.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good coping skill too, right? And it doesn't matter what, I don't think, as long as it's not harmful to other people, what it is that makes you feel better. But it's important to have something.
Well, I think anybody who's ever dealt with a medium, a good medium, realizes that there's something else out there. There's something beyond us. We had a really fantastic medium. Her name was Veronica Hart. She came in and did, she actually did 2 sets of readings at my house. She came in for a set of my friends. She also came in for the staff. And she was brilliant. There was absolutely no denying that she was.
So why do you feel that way? Because I'm not so sure I believe it. I want to.
Okay.
So
I'm going to give you some examples.
Sure, go ahead.
So she obviously had no idea who was coming. It was a random group. Even if she had have gone onto my 4,000 Facebook friends, she would have never guessed the group that I had actually matched and paired together. So it's not like she had time to research anyone. So put that myth behind you. So these are some of the examples. So she would always say to you, don't give me any hints or any help, just yes or no's to my questions. And she would go pretty much directly over to the person and say, I think I'm dealing with you. Did you have a mother that passed? So one of my friends had a mother that passed of cancer. She not only described the death and how she passed and how she transitioned and what was going on in the room and how they were holding hands, which is pretty traditional. But then she said, you don't look like a person that would have a tattoo. But I think you have a tattoo and I think it's on your arm. And for some reason, I'm getting a message that it's handwriting. And so your mom is recognizing this tattoo with the handwriting. And she pulled up her sleeve and her mom had written a card to her for her birthday and had signed on the bottom, love you, mom. And she had love you, mom, tattooed and written on her arm. Yeah. You would have never known that.
So do you think
she had a long
potentially,
sleeve.
you know how mentalists kind of do that and navigate? Do you think it could be that type of
skill? A mind reading? I don't think so.
Sure.
So this is how so she also...
And does it also play into us wanting to believe it?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
Because no information was given at all. Everybody was tight-lipped. Nobody said anything. For this reason, for the skeptics in the room. So then she went over to my other friend who lost his mother. And she said, was your mom really quiet? And he said, yeah. And she goes, no, wait. I know what it is. She doesn't really speak English. And she doesn't. She's of a different language. I think they're Yugoslavian or something. And so she said, okay, this is going to be an interesting reading to try and have her communicate. But they often communicate in symbols. So she says, she's showing me like a birthday cake and cabbage rolls. So I think maybe she used to make you cabbage rolls on your birthday. It was your favorite dish. And that's what she did every year for his birthday. She made cabbage rolls. She goes, she's referring to a person, but I don't know, like it's not a name that I would normally recognize. She goes, would it make sense? Like if he was, she's referring to Bada. Bada, I don't know who Bada is. Well, that's his dad's name, is Bada. And then she said, I think your mom came from this little village, and the village has like 150 people in it, and she actually named the name of the village. And it was like, blah, blah, blah. Like it was something totally random. It's not like you could have ever picked it out of anything. Like it's such a small random place that she would have never visited. And then she jumped over to to Judy, who's my neighbor at my cottage. And she was talking to Judy about her mom passing. And she says, I think you carry around something from your mom. I think it's always in your purse. And it's like a necklace, but it's not something you would wear. She goes, so that seems weird to me that it would be a necklace, but you wouldn't wear it. And Judy reached into her purse, which was on her lap, and she pulled out a rosary. And that's, it's a necklace that you wouldn't wear. So like, I mean, I could go on and on for another 20 minutes about all the examples. They were so specific, so distinct. Like that you would have never.
It's my
come
scientific
up with it.
brain that makes me say, not a chance in hell.
Yeah.
And
I get that, but I saw
it's not
it
that I
myself.
don't want to, and I do want to experience it.
With Veronica
It's
Hart.
kind of like I've never been hypnotized.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes it's like that skeptical kind of side there too.
Yeah.
You probably have to experience it.
Yeah. I'm actually trained in hypnosis.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, have you hypnotized me before?
No.
Or do I not know about it?
You're being hypnotized right now.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's really.
Yeah,
I don't know how we got on that. But.
Okay, so I'm super skeptical too. I totally get it.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't have seen her in person and witnessed it myself, and all of the ridiculously detailed stuff, and there was people that came through that wouldn't have been normal for them to come through. Like my one friend, Janine, her dad had passed, and he did come through. But then also, like an uncle that she didn't really know that was in the army came through. So it's like it wasn't a thought that was in her head that Veronica pulled out of her head. It was Veronica mentioning somebody and Janine going, oh yeah, I forgot that uncle passed away. And it was so detailed, so accurate that there was no denying.
Yeah.
Zero denying it. Like seriously, go book an appointment. She's in Kingston. She's brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I'm actually having her back again.
Is that right?
To read my staff because I have some new members and we've had some new passings, and so she's going to come back. It was brilliant.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I think being open is an important aspect of anything, right? Because I like to hold myself out as being open, but there is some truth. Or my truth is that I am skeptical too, so I need to be careful sometimes about that. That doesn't mean that I have to agree with it or believe it. It's just be open to it.
Yeah.
Because that's going to lead into my it's kind of segue. Okay. I don't want to talk about politics per se, in terms of specific politics, but in terms of a seed to the conversation.
Okay.
Politics. I was driving down the road the other day.
Yeah.
Okay, and I see two signs.
Okay.
One's red and one's blue. And they're on neighbors' lawns.
Okay.
My first thought is that they must hate each other.
You think so?
Not because I believe that.
Okay.
But because I see that our the current climate of politics and just things.
Yeah.
Right? Is that if we don't agree with something, and it doesn't have to be politics. That's what I was just using that to maybe heighten the kind of intensity right there. But it doesn't matter. The current strike that might be happening or is happening on whatever, it doesn't matter what the topic is. There's lots of things, and if I agree with supporting the strike, there's going to be someone that I feel like is going to
not support it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's the viciousness about now Brad and I can't be friends.
Okay, so I agree.
That's what I want to talk
agree
about.
with you. So I think if somebody feels strong enough about who they're going to vote for to actually put a sign on their front yard that they're very committed to voting for that party. And so I do agree. I think if your neighbor puts up the opposite sign, you're going to not have the same view on your neighbor.
Yeah. But
I'm not committed one way or another, really strong enough that I would put a sign on my yard.
No?
I don't feel that convicted for the cause.
Okay.
It's not that I won't vote. I will vote.
Yeah.
For years
Is that because you're afraid of what people might think of you for putting a sign out there? That's kind of what I want to get at. And it's not about politics. That's what I don't want this to be about. I mean, in a way it's about politics, but not specific politics, like the politics behind believing something in terms of religious views or not, or, you know,
I feel
hockey. I don't know. Like, I just feel like if you take a position on some of these things anymore, that now you can't be associated with one another, or you don't want to share it because what could happen?
Because you're a fear of being judged. Okay, so I have a slight fear of being judged, yes. But more importantly, I don't feel like I could have enough of a stand on the topic because I don't have enough information to
I don't
make
think a
that
lot
stand.
of, in terms of, and a lot of that stuff,
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of us are educated.
So,
we have thoughts and opinions, but
like
not
there's
based
I only know 1% of probably what's really
on
going on.
Yeah.
And I think if you're that convicted that you have a sign in your yard, you're probably studying it, researching it, reading on it. It's not that I don't.
I'm not sure everybody does, though.
Yeah.
Maybe they should.
Yeah, true. But I think a lot of those people do. They know certainly more than I do.
Yeah.
So that's probably the biggest reason why I wouldn't put a sign on it.
Okay.
Moving over to the school thing. Let's move over to the school thing.
Yeah, no,
So there's
a
a school strike happening, right?
Yeah.
So I just got an email before we got here that they're going to potentially close the schools if they don't have an agreement.
Sure.
What are your thoughts? Because I heard this week that the schools are no longer locked. So right now, if you have a school that's got a system where the doors are locked.
Ours was the other day when I dropped my daughter off, when
locked.
they were on a work to rule thing.
Yeah, so yesterday and today they were not locked.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. What are my thoughts on that?
I
Do you
think it matters whether they're locked or not?
I think it's sad that we're locking our schools just because I know this world's different and all that kind of stuff, or that's what we say, it's different. But the schools weren't locked when I was a kid, so I don't want to be completely romantic to the way it used to be.
But
Things
when we
do
were
change.
a kid, there wasn't people going in and shooting.
Well, and it's not happening a lot here now either.
It's not.
Like,
but it
so
can happen.
that's that fear mongering that happens.
Well, and I think realistically, if another student walks into the school, I don't think they're going to have their gun in their arms, right? Like, they're gonna, like, right now, for Deacon School, I can hit the buzzer, they can open the door, and I can walk right through the hallway and walk right through the front.
Right.
And nobody's probably going to stop me.
Right. No, in terms of it seems like, it's like if you had a concealed whatever, but,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no.
Like, realistically, like, locked or not locked, I think if somebody is getting in, they're going to hit the buzzer, they're going to walk
get
through
in
the
like
door,
that
and
anyways,
they're going to run down the hallway.
Yeah, who knows?
Right?
Yeah.
So I
But
don't
in
think
terms
it's that
of-
big of a deal.
yeah.
But I hear a lot of talk and a lot of people communicating on Facebook how, oh my gosh, the doors aren't locked, and having this whole frenzy over it.
Yeah, I don't know what they think. Like, I mean, things could happen for sure, but they could come when it's recess.
Yeah. 100%.
Like, so I think there's a
Amen.
false sense of
There
security.
we go. Amen.
Yeah. But kind of, I mean, in terms of like the agreement and not agreeing, like, I mean, that's another issue that people are very contentious over, which for the right reasons. Like, I mean, when you have a belief, but the problem I have is when it turns into like hate because we disagree. Like, you know what? You own your belief. I can own mine.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess where it gets kind of divisive is that the belief is strong that you think it actually is harming someone else.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why, I mean, people, if you're for the strike or supporting that, because you feel like our kids are being harmed.
Yeah.
Or on the other side is, if you don't agree with that, you feel like it's harming the other way.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where it's coming from, but I don't like the fact that we can't just get along, even if we have different views. And I know that was long on that whole topic, but I'm getting tired of it. It's emotionally hard for me because I just want people to get along for whatever reason. But I don't mind disagreeing. It's a weird thing.
Yeah,
for
that is
me.
weird. That is a total contrast.
I just don't like
get
people
along, but I like you when you disagree.
Well, I don't like when people hate each other for having different views.
Yeah,
I don't like
sure.
Bigots.
Yeah, no.
And that's, I think, the definition of being a bigot is that people can't hold a different opinion than you.
Yes.
Full stop.
Yes.
So, is there a lot of bigots out there?
Oh, yeah. I think there's lots.
Yeah. We don't like the word, but that's because it's associated with really bad things. But that, I think, is the definition of being a bigot.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what other things have happened to you this week?
That consumed a good few days. Yeah. And then it was kind of catching up. And I don't know, it was really nice to have that really beautiful day where we had like 30-degree weather, and now we've plummeted down into like winter.
Well, wake up. Yeah, here it comes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like the whole Canadian climate is insane.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had a good week. I had a great conversation with someone the other day, just talking about life, and it's those moments that I just wish, man, that was recorded.
Yeah.
Which is the whole reason why we're doing this, right?
Is
It's just to have
because we had a lot of
those
good coffee talks.
conversations, and the ones that we just had, they're uncomfortable sometimes, especially when you're on camera sharing it with the world. But not the world, not like the world is watching, but
the world could watch.
they could watch it. I mean, you kind of feel a little bit exposed, right, when you're doing this. But yesterday was a great conversation with a friend that I have. And we were just talking about life in general, challenges, and kind of working through. He's going through what I'm going through, or I started 2 years ago, which is what I refer to as my midlife crisis or awakening. Just those challenges that when you start asking yourself, like, why am I doing this, or what am I doing? Purpose? All those kinds of things. Yeah. All I kept on really thinking about is just like, know that it's going to get better. Know that you're normal, you know, because most people go through that at some point.
Absolutely.
Actually, I had 2 conversations about kind of people going through that yesterday.
Okay.
Which obviously helps me in a way too, right?
I don't know where you were going with that, but midlife crises are definitely prevalent, and I don't know if I did hit one for sure. I think the midlife is kind of just a common area. Yeah. I was talking to a young fellow yesterday. This is the other conversation, is that he was a motocross racer, like a international like competitor. Thank you. Yeah. And he had an accident that stopped him. Oh, wow.
And
I wonder if Kevin knows them, because we have a track,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. Well, he either knows him or knows of him, probably, because he's locals. Anyways, that's what I asked him. I'm like, how was that? Like, who are you now, kind of thing, right? So midlife, I think, sometimes can be overused. I think it can happen anywhere in your life, but it's that moment where you start questioning things, like, what am I going to do now? What?
Well, and I think when people retire, it's really hard too. Like, that's not midlife, but it's still another crisis.
It's another one of those moments where you're kind of going,
you're like, okay, well, I was always a teacher. Hi, I'm so and so, a teacher, and then you're no longer a teacher. You're retired. So then, what are you? Yeah. But it's like him. He was like a motocross rider. Yeah,
it's your identity, or that's what you identify with.
Well, then what are you?
Yeah.
You know, so it's always making that shift that's difficult, because you're changing your identity, changing who you are.
You know, another thing. So that's where I was going, is that having these conversations when they're meaningful like that made me do a lot of self-reflection. Yeah. And so I've been in a different mood the last 3-4 weeks. I always like to think that I'm at a pretty good rate, but I definitely know when I'm better and on my game. Yeah. And one of the things that I think that I need is a new challenge. Okay. Always. Yeah. Like something to chew on. Okay. Something to learn. Or I can't. Like, that's my contentment.
I agree. It always has to be moving and changing. So I have to ask you, Brad, I know that there's things that you want to do. We've talked about them sort of off camera, not so much on camera. Yeah. What is your blocker? What's stopping you from doing it?
I don't know if I'm stopped from doing it, because I start doing all kinds of things. It's just finding that thing. One of the things I feel like I need to be learning. I want to lead something. So sometimes if it's like a solo thing, that's difficult. Or I'll start something and it's like, okay, now what? Now it's like the next step is more challenging. The execution and the communication of everything. Yeah. So, you know, that's one of the areas that I'm pursuing. I'm actually going down that road right now. So, and that's fulfilling that kind of need for learning or change, for that matter.
Yep. Yeah. But I think you know the steps that you need to do and you aren't doing them.
No, well, I think I am doing them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, right, I do. I think I'm doing more of them, and I think this...
And I say that, like, with love.
I know you do.
And I know that I've been walking myself from doing what I want to do.
But this is a part of me doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I think that's... Sometimes, I mean, in order to get where you want to go, you go through some shit or dirt, or it's not as clear as it will be someday. These are the clouds or whatever. Yeah. That, like, it's not crystal clear, but this is a step on my journey. That's what I think the important part is for me to understand, or anybody else that's listening, is that it may not feel perfect when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like me starting my original daily steps shit that I was doing.
Yeah.
That was the beginning.
Yeah.
Of me
and
discovering.
It was awesome.
Well,
you really should go back to doing some of that.
For sure. But that was the step to then go, okay, now I'm going to do a podcast.
Yeah.
And then Shannon saying, hey, why don't we do a podcast?
Mm-hmm.
And then someone, Dave saying, I want you to start doing a podcast at Fractal. Like, it's just those little things that start breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
So when you say, why am I not doing it?
Yeah.
I am. It's just not clear, so it's hard to articulate sometimes.
Yeah.
I need to remind myself that I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing,
Yeah.
and I'm just fucking up along the way because that's part of it.
Well, I think a lot of us, though, aren't taking the action that we should be taking, that we know we should be taking. Mm-hmm. We may have a great idea. It's just, there's some limiting belief, some limiting blocker that stops us from moving forward. Fear of failure probably is the biggest one. Mm-hmm. What if I try it and nobody listens? What if I do it? And it's like we said this, like our...
Well, that was my first
for
fear.
Audience of one.
Yeah, that was my first fear when I started with the daily steps.
Yeah, and it was awesome.
And I didn't post the first one.
Yeah.
Right, and then I'm like, screw it,
Who
post
cares?
it.
Just post
and
it.
then it was like, we know these things. Mm-hmm. Great question. Why am I not? I am doing.
Yeah, good.
I am actually doing. And I appreciate it because you just made me convicted in that.
Okay, good.
I just might not be doing exactly what
so
it will be in a year.
So what is it that you want to do?
What do I want to do?
Let's proclaim it. So you
what I want to do is help people achieve their goals. Yeah. I don't know what that. I don't want to be caught up with kind of like specific because I really don't know what that looks like perfectly right now.
Okay, so
stop. What I want to do is not be here all the time.
Okay. Elaborate.
I don't want to be in Canada all the time.
Okay, you want to travel? I
want to get out of here. I don't want to be tied down here.
Okay.
Those are the things that I want to do. It doesn't matter. So now I have to figure out the means to do that.
Okay.
I will figure that out. My goal is to not be tied down geographically to this location and have more experiences.
Okay.
I don't care the means except for not harming other people.
Okay.
And I would like it to make an impact on other people's lives.
So see if maybe our audience can come up with some ideas for you, Brad, because I would also love to travel all over the place, like with my family. Mm-hmm. And I know you mean like collectively your family, traveling with your family. You're not going to go off on your own, leave your wife and kids behind.
Every once in a while, that would be great too. Yeah.
But for me, I'd love to be able to travel with Kevin and Deegan. And
Yeah, no. So, I mean, I think this is a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
This could be a means.
Yeah.
Not maybe this specifically. Mm-hmm. This is a stepping stone.
Yeah.
But like sharpening the knife in the drawer, that kind of thing. Doing a podcast down the way and meeting this young fellow the other day. You just don't know where that kind of stuff leads you.
Comes from.
And so, I don't know the answer, and I don't think that we need to be pressured into knowing specifics.
Yeah, just keep following the breadcrumbs.
I think it's a good question to keep asking.
Yeah, I think everybody should keep asking.
Don't get hung up with not knowing the answer.
Okay, so I'm going to flip topics here because I just thought of something, and it was really profound. So my friend... it's her father's 80th birthday coming up. And she messaged me yesterday and said, can you share a story or two, funny story, whatever, memorable story that you have with my dad? And I've known her for, 20 plus years now. I've definitely hung out with her parents a lot. And I really couldn't come up with any specific story. So when you think about this, and Kevin and I were talking about it last night, this is the whole part about experiences. When you actually have an experience, like had we have had an experience together, gotten on a boat and did a boat tour together, gone somewhere, done something, I would have had an experience to kind of remember. I have lots of fond memories, but nothing in specific. Really, it was like we'd all have dinner together and have great conversations and laugh and joke. But aside from that, if you're not actually getting out of the norm, you don't have specific memories. And so it caused me to start having this conversation with Kevin about like my parents. So if somebody said, tell me some memories that you had with your parents, I would instantly start going to experiences, camping trips, Walt Disney World, vacations that we took, places that we went, things that we did, skating practice or like whatever, actual specific experiences. You don't remember looking back, sitting at the dinner table, talking, doing the monotonous things that you do in life, right?
I remember my mom humming at the dinner table.
Okay.
Very specifically.
Okay, but I'm just saying, right?
Sorry, Mom.
This is why it's so important to have these experiences, back to your point, because otherwise, like, what memories do you have? Your memories are memories that stick out in your mind because of specific experiences?
I think, I guess one of the things, like, it's like, why do I want to do some of these things? It's like, yeah, those experiences. But I just feel like there's so much more to kind of see and do out there.
Absolutely, sure.
It's like the seeing, like, different places to put things in perspective.
Yeah.
I guess because I value perspective so much to kind of shift my mindset into a positive space that I can't imagine that traveling the world, seeing different things, and meeting different people that have had different experiences would shift me and make me stronger in that area.
Yeah.
I guess that may be why I want to do that.
Did you ever watch Anthony Bourdain's? He had a whole series on Netflix. He's obviously a famous chef, fantastic. He's very comical and very easy to watch and listen to.
Real.
Yeah, very real.
Anthony was very real and vulnerable and raw.
Yeah, raw. Yeah. And he would travel all around the world trying different foods from different cultures. And it was super fascinating to watch because you got to see a little bit visually of the different cultures. You got to meet different people because he'd always sit down and talk to other chefs or other people in the community, and he'd eat weird food. But I guess, like, sadly, obviously, he committed suicide. And I just think to myself, like, are we always searching for more? Like, are we going to say, I want to travel the world and get all these experiences and then go travel the world and then go, yeah, okay, well, now what?
Is that what is going to fulfill you or whatever? Absolutely.
Because to me, I think that the thing that fulfills me the most, I think, is actually helping people.
100%.
Like,
I think that's everybody's, to be honest with you. It's
but
just
if I could help people
where
and
is
travel, it would be awesome.
Yeah. It's where is that helping people, right? And the traveling might not be the part that helps people. It may be actually you're traveling because you love it. It's you doing that, sharing it, and showing people that they can do whatever they want, and they can be, you know, that's maybe the message is that it's not about what you're doing; it's actually about pursuing it.
Setting a goal and going for it.
Yeah, just moving.
Just keep moving. I agree. The monotony of the rat race. Once again, these people who sit and do the same routine over and over and over again. I mean, we all have routines, right? But we entertain a lot. We have a lot of people over because I like to break up the routine. I can't live in routine. Like, routine
You like people, though, too. I think you get,
me.
I mean, maybe I'm putting
I'm
words in your
totally
mouth.
introverted, though.
But do you get energy? Well, that would suggest maybe you don't.
No.
Do you get energy from people, people that you surround yourself from?
My friends, I love the small community of friends that I have. But putting me out, like, if I had to go to, like, a black tie event, that literally kills me. Like, there's nothing I would rather not do than go to, like, a black tie event because I don't want to small talk with a bunch of people that I don't really know. Because I'm really introverted. So I actually really just prefer intimate, smaller conversations with people that I know. But I hate routine. So this is why 3-4 times a week at least, probably more like 5, we actually entertain. We go to a friend's house or they come to our house.
That's huge. Like, that's a real, that would feed me just in term. We don't do that, but just that'd feed me just from the social aspect, which is the extroversion part of me. But the other part, like, that I want to mention is, like, what feeds me is having these types of conversations. Again, we don't have to agree. You push back on me, I push back on you. I enjoy the pushback. Yeah, that's the yin to the yang of me loving disagreement, but also hating when people can't still get along. Like, I mean, I like when balance, people challenge me, but
I like people that are open-minded. I've been challenged by some people that are so close-minded they won't even look at my view. That's annoying. Right. Like, I want to be pushed back, but not to the point where, like, you don't have an open mind to, like, even consider the options that I'm bringing to the table.
Do they have to consider it, or do they just not have to not like you for it?
Well, I think they have to just be like, okay, I'm open to the premise that you're presenting, and I'll
open to even just listening to it.
Just tell me why
really
you
listening,
think that way.
Like, really listening, not that whole saying listening to respond, but listening to be heard kind of thing.
Yes, for sure. But I think they have to want to listen. I don't like having challenging conversations when people are like, nope, it's my way or the highway.
Yeah, that's why politics can be exhausting.
Yeah.
It stinks anyways. Anyways, we're going to end it there.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Great. Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Anyways, have a good day.
Until next time.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.